Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Mandatory Live Show. Remember, if you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, follow us on our social media channels. We're at the Mandatory TKO, and you can also find us on the audio side as well. So, if you got a couple of minutes to leave a rate and review, make sure you do. Give us a 5-star because why wouldn't you? We got to get into the fight that we actually really care about on this card. This is the main fight. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano 2. This one is going to be absolutely epic. Now, Katie Taylor actually edged out Amanda Serrano in the first fight. A little bit of controversy because there were a lot of
Debatable.
people left after that fight, including Bryan and I, that really thought that Amanda Serrano won 6 rounds to 4. If I'm not mistaken, we had the same scorecards. But, it's been a little while now. They're back in the ring. Bryan, do you see this fight going any differently? And how are you betting this one?
I did this on my YouTube channel, so y'all can go check that out too. But I mean, for this one, I feel like I'm committing a damn sin because the whole thing about me and Amanda Serrano are damn near from the same neighborhood. Like she had grown up in Bushwick. I'm in Ridgewood in New York City. Those neighborhoods are bordering each other, legitimately bordering each other. Like I grew up playing baseball in Bushwick and shit like that. Um, One of the first athletes I did a profile on when I was writing at a newspaper in 2016 before Amanda Serrano was like the Amanda Serrano we know now. She was barely getting highlights on Showtime Extreme, and she was like in the second title run, world title run, when people like didn't give a shit about women who box at that point. And she's only grown and grown and grown ever since. Interviewed her multiple times and all those different things. But like, if she didn't get the decision in New York, like it's really hard for me to see her getting the decision now. And Katie Taylor is somebody who has had some favorable decisions in her career. Delphine Pursoon, a lot of people thought she lost that fight, the first one, not the rematch. Natasha Jonas was a very close fight when they fought. I think the majority of people thought that Katie Taylor edged that one out, to be fair, but still, the scorecards sort of were what they were at that point. There was also the Shantelle Cameron fight, the second one, where that was a majority decision, as was the first one. And I thought in the second one, like that could have easily been a draw, but she got the decision, and they made it be like, oh, you should never doubt Katie Taylor, da 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 da, because
Katie
Eddie
Taylor
Hearn.
was moving up for that fight too. Like that was Shantelle Cameron's natural weight class, and I
Yeah,
think a lot of people thought Katie Taylor was gonna just go into that weight class and beat Shantelle Cameron, but Shantelle Cameron's a problem in
yeah.
that division, so she needs credit for that. I just want to say.
No, she gets credit for that, but also like that's a decision that I mean, I don't know how it goes if it's not in Ireland. You know what I mean? And the first one she lost, and she lost a little bit more convincingly, I think, than the 96-94 would entail. I feel like there was probably another round you could find for Chantel Cameron there, and one judge had it even. And then obviously the Amanda Serrano fight, which we both think really could have gone Amanda Serrano's way. Um, Katie Taylor boxed really well in that fight. Like, and she closed strong. That was the thing about it. She closed strong. She was boxing. She was moving. And I feel like she just has more pathways to victory. And then here's the other thing. It's like Amanda Serrano's been in twice the pro fights that Katie Taylor has. And speaking of, power and whether or not that is the first thing to go or not, up until the Stevie Morgan fight, we'll get to her in a second, it was 3 years with no knockouts. And Amanda Serrano, this is going to be her third fight in this weight class. Now, for somebody who's jumped up and down a lot and has won world titles in 7 weight classes, which is a record for women and second only to Manny Pacquiao in boxing history, she's only fought in this weight class twice. One of them was to Stevie Morgan, who respectfully put forth the worst performance that we've seen from a prize fight this year. It was awful. Like she did not belong in the same ring with Amanda Serrano at all due respect. Um, and she just cleared her out. Amanda Serrano did, and that was her first knockout in a long time. Katie Taylor, she's beaten better competition. She's been in the ring with better competition. So like all these factors to me, and the fact that this is in Dallas and not New York, like I kind of feel like Katie Taylor's just going to do it again. So I already bet her to win by decision, as much as it fucking pains me, because Amanda Serrano is like maybe my favorite fighter in boxing and has been for a while. And obviously is somebody that like is one of probably the 10 athletes that I've probably talked about the most in doing this for a long time now at this point, making myself sound old. But I just think I just think Katie Taylor's probably going to get this one. The only thing that gave me hesitation was if you're looking at this from a promotional perspective, you might be like, hey, give this one to Amanda so we could have the trilogy, cash out, whatever the case may be. So that's sort of the thing that I thought about. But I lean Katie Taylor by decision, which right now is plus money at one popular book. It was at minus 110. It's moved to plus 105.
So my sentiments for this fight, not much different than yours, Bryan, in a sense that obviously I did also think that Amanda Serrano won that first fight. I think the issue is, though, when you're fighting 10 rounds and they're only 2-minute rounds, the rounds are so close. And I think that's what's going to be the issue in this fight again. I think the rounds are going to be really close. I think the scorecards are going to be all over the place. And I think everyone on X and Twitter is going to have their own opinion on who's winning this fight. It's going to be a fight where it's 6-4 again. Either way. I think Amanda Serrano, as you've heard her say, I believe she was saying that she feels most natural at 126. Yes. Did she not say that? So
she was undisputed there, I think that's her best weight class too. Having seen her for forever, like I think 126 is her best weight class.
Yeah, so she's not fighting this fight at 126, but we've seen her win, multiple belts in different weight classes. So she has the experience to do that. I think Amanda Serrano, the one thing that I'm noticing every year is that she's been taking a lot more hits than usual.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've noticed. But the thing about Serrano is she's an aggressive fighter. She likes to come forward. She likes to dictate the pace. And I thought she did that very well in that first fight. I think Serrano, we're going to see possibly one of the best versions of her in the ring on Friday. Because I think she wants this more than ever. I think she wants to avenge this loss. Because I think in her mind, they think she won too. I really want to bet on Amanda Serrano. I think the judges really like Katie Taylor, though. I know I'm being conspiracy.
IMPK brings up an interesting point in the comments. If you could put it up, because I can't, because it's not working.
Oh, my bad.
But he says this fight being at 140 is a problem for Serrano. However, Texas judges stereotypically like aggressive fighters, which a lot of Mexican fighters in Texas. So like that's more of the style down there. What I would say to that is Katie Taylor can get aggressive too. Like she can brawl also. But the thing is, this is the thing with me, Shantelle. What do you think about this? Like I feel like Katie Taylor has more ways to win this fight where she can brawl a little bit. She could also counter and move and fight at her range. Whereas Amanda Serrano, like, what she's here to do. And it's going to be some of the most elite pressure fighting that you could find in boxing.
You're going to see speed. You're going to see her pressure her. You're going to see her come forward. You're going to see her take hit after hit, power shot after power shot, still continue to keep on throwing. And how the judges score this is going to be the most important. And that's why I feel like it could be very close. I would also take a look at draw for this one.
Yes, 1,000%.
And so that's the bet that I'm actually looking at for this one, because I think it's going to be extremely close until they make women's boxing 3-minute rounds. That's the only way that we're never going to leave championship fights not wondering who won. Because
Amanda's trying.
Yeah, Amanda has tried, and boxing was like, nah, you're not doing that ever again, fam. So she definitely tried, and props for her for trying to change that for women, and everything that she's done for the sport. But I'm actually taking a look at draw, which is a plus 1,200.
1,600 at another book. I just saw 1,600.
Okay, so what is that? What is that prominent book? Because I would bet on that today.
The one with the F.
Oh, we used to work there. Let's just say it, FanDuel. This is where Bryan and I first started this show, essentially.
Yeah.
So I would take a look at draw because I think it's going to be extremely close. I also think Jake Paul wants to put a Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano 3 on his undercard on his next fight. You know what I mean? Like it says to
Mike Tyson 2 and Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor 3.
But I will say, if there's one trilogy fight that I would want to see, it's Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. These are two of the best women boxers in the world, and I wouldn't mind to see a trilogy fight. If the draw doesn't happen, Katie Taylor by decision plus 110. I
You know what though? Like as someone who has, I've already put money on Katie Taylor by decision, and I put money on the draw as we were talking about this because I saw plus 1600. I was
That's
like, oh
crazy.
god, you
Yeah.
have to. But I would also look at whoever you think is going to win this fight, or if you want to hedge, like if you bet Katie Taylor by decision already, you could still get value on like Amanda Serrano by split decision, Amanda Serrano by majority decision. Because to your point, I would be surprised. I'd be surprised if this is going to be a unanimous decision victory for anybody.
To be honest with you, if I'm going to take a risky bet, and if anyone knows me, I like to take risky bets, I would probably take Amanda by split because I bet you the odds are crazy. It doesn't show up on my Bet 365 app, but
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to look right now.
yeah, look it up because that's the bet that I would take. Because I think a lot of people, I mean, look, the money line, you guys, is Katie Taylor minus 125, Amanda Serrano minus 105. So it's really close.
It was bigger than that before. Katie Taylor yesterday legitimately was like minus 150, and money, like more
Money's
bets have
coming
come
in on
in.
Amanda Serrano. And
Yeah.
you know, that's how close this fight is going to be, which is why I'm leaning towards a draw. The first one was so close. Like everyone was, I know a lot of people that were pissed off after that fight. I was. I did not believe the outcome.
Split decision, majority decision from what I'm seeing, not available yet. But remember, people,
Probably, yeah.
it is Tuesday. A lot of these things tend to come out Wednesday and occasionally even Thursday, just leading up to the fight. But right now, like I'm seeing knockdown props, I'm seeing over under, which don't even look. It's a waste of time. The over 8.5 rounds is legitimately minus 700. So I mean, I wouldn't even entertain that. But other things like even to get one or more knockdowns is plus money at plus 200. I'm not positive that either Katie Taylor or Amanda Serrano have ever been dropped before. So, and again, we'd see more
The fight's
knockdowns in
going the
women's boxing.
distance.
We would see
The
more knockdowns in women's boxing if they had 3-minute
3-minute
rounds, which they
rounds.
should. But
Yeah, and maybe if, and I know people are gonna hate this when maybe if they went down to 8-ounce gloves, we'd for sure see knockouts.
do you want that?
I would. I don't think. I don't think women's boxing needs it, especially in the state that it's in right now. And you mentioned this earlier when you were covering Amanda in 2016. Not a lot of people were really into women's boxing. Like it didn't have the same spotlight it has now. I would go even further than you and say like during the COVID year 2020, like women's boxing wasn't where it was then, where it is now. Like
Yeah,
people were still complaining about it in 2020. People were still complaining about it in early 2021. It just kind of took a change. And I really do think Jake Paul had a little bit to do with that.
yeah,
And let's give props to the women as well, because they put on some great fights. Like there's been some great fights over the years that haven't got the spotlight, and we're seeing it now all of the time. Like sometimes the women cards are the better fights on a card. Are you on
yeah.
mute?
Like one of the early fights that I remember getting a lot of attention was Heather Hardy versus Shelly Vincent, especially when they did it the second time, because they fought on the same card as Errol Spence in 2016. And this is when Errol Spence was becoming Errol Spence. He had knocked out Leonard Bundu at Coney Island Ford Amphitheater. Horrible venue for boxing. And I think it might have been the only time that they used it. But, and it was rainy as fuck that day, August, I think, 21st, 2016. Second fight I ever covered in person. And Heather Hardy and Shelly Vincent stole the show, beat the fuck out of each other, and Heather Hardy escaped with a narrow decision win for an international title. They did it again on HBO in 2018, and I think it was the last HBO card or one of the very last HBO cards, and that was at the Embassy Theater. Danny Jacobs, I think, fought on that same card as well. And that was when it started getting more and more attention. And then shortly after, Amanda Serrano fights Heather Hardy, and that was a fight that garnered attention. So, or around that time, may have been before. But yeah, like 2018, 19 is when it started bubbling up. I credit Lou DiBella for some of that too, because he was always trying to get women on his card. And then during the pandemic, we started seeing it go up to a new level. And then we also got more stars. And Clarissa Shields also gets credit for a lot of this too, because she came along.
She doesn't get mentioned enough, even though you could say that she's the GOAT.
Yeah.
You could say that.
I think it's just because like people criticize like, well, one, her, but two, her level of competition. And it's like, she blows out.
It is what it is though. I hate when they
Yeah.
say that though, level of competition. That's her competition though. Who else
you
is she
know?
supposed to fight? I will also say that there's two fights that I love this year. Michaela Mayer, Sandy Ryan. I think that should be up for fight of the year. And I loved Sinisa Estrada and Yokasta. I
Yeah,
thought that
Costa
those two
Valle.
fights were two of the best fights this year. And I think Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano too are going to be one of the best fights this year too.
The first
So
one in 2022 was my fight of the year. I
yeah,
think
that fight
yours
was dope.
also.
Yeah.
And also another one, Michaela Mayer versus Natasha Jonas from January. People forget about it, but that was
Ooh,
a
that
really, really good
a
fight.
very good. Yes, yes, yes. And it was close. Like again, these fights are always so close. So, make sure to let us know how you're going to be betting this one. Drop some comments. Also, if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, helps the channel grow.